Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Timothy Grimes. I am uh, an intern here in UWL. This is actually one of my first times actually, on camera and everything like that. Um, and I have been tasked with a very special double interview uh, with both Jamal Bedlam and uh, Dr. Vin Taylor. Um, so I guess I'll start with you, Jamal. This matchup between you two at Salvation. Um, what has been your driving point? Because you've always been, you've always wanted this match with Vin. What was the main driving point of this matchup for you?
I want you all to go back a couple of years. Vindication 2018. The first time that I ever showed up in any VW event, to the best of my knowledge. I was not the Jamal you see right now, but I was lighter, still as aggressive, but lighter. And I remember a man with a broken arm hitting me with a clothesline so hard that I felt blood rush out of my head. That man threw me over the top rope and found himself in a triple threat match for the VW World Championship. While I would go on at that same event to fight for the very fate of Virtual Wrestling United. But I won't lie to you, since then, I haven't forgotten getting clotheslined so hard it made me bleed. I've wanted to return the favor for a very long time. Now I get that opportunity. But there's more to it than just that, but I'll let that be known the further we get into it.
All right. So Vin, how do you feel about Jamal's reason here?
Compared to everyone else's reasons for why they want to face me or hurt me in some way, I'd say that's almost adorably childlike. I'll be honest, you're the first person that probably wanted to face me in the ring because he wanted to test his merit, his strength, his mental fortitude compared to everyone else that just wanted to kill me. But compared to many others who have called my name for the sake of some wayward vengeance, I'll have to say Jamal's probably the few people in this wayward business that I can say, I look forward to your challenge, and I look forward to see if you can actually return that favor.
All right. Since we had the first question for Jamal, we're gonna have this next one. We'll start off with you, Vin. So you both will be working double duty at Salvation. Jamal Bedlam will be taking on Xander, and on night one, you will be defending the UWL World Heavyweight title, which I can see you do not have with you. What's your thoughts on facing Raditz on night one?
Raditz. He has so much to prove, doesn't he, Jamal? Amongst you and the merry band of wayward, scarred brethren that you have formed with Malik and Sly and Claudio. It must really eat at him to know that out of that group, he's the only one who still has to play catch up to someone else. which is what Radis' entire life has been, am I right? He had to catch up to his brother, he had to catch up to Vegeta, he had to catch up to everybody. But, honestly, I think Raditz should be very wary of me, and I think he should be very careful who he deals with in that ring, because I said it once and I'll say it again. That title that you so pointed out that I don't have, it means nothing to me. It's just another target, and a target is what, I'll be honest, I like. But we'll see how badly Raditz wants to be a world champion.
All right, Jamal. You've been on this quest on facing people of Vin Taylor's past, more notably the Fall. Uh, just one person left, that being Xander. What's your thought process of going into that match with Xander?
I'd be a fool to underestimate Xander just because he's significantly smaller than me. I already know the lengths he'll go to win a match. After all, I saw the lengths he went to just to get past the very men in the same room as us. So I expect nothing less than his most intense. And I will do the same. I don't, however, intend on losing. Because like with Cody, like with Steel, I don't intend on letting anything stop me from besting anybody who has ever gotten the better of Vin. And that does include even James Dark. Because I know we'll have to clash at some point. And if that means I have to take that battle for a world title from him, so be it.
Salvation isn't the only show where you two will be busy at. With Prestige just around the corner and everything like that, you both will be busy on that show. Jamal, you will be main eventing the entire show with Sly, and Vin Taylor, you will be part of the King's Gift ladder match. So I guess Jamal, you being the interim VW World Champion and everything like that, and once again going up against Sly. I mean, the last time you two fought for the VW World Title against each other, the very man that you're right across from ended up taking both of you out, and there was no decisive winner. You two have fought in the past. Sly has beaten you, and you've beaten him. So what is your thought process in going into this world title match against Sly at Prestige?
If there's one thing that is true, is that the belt that I hold is not the main title. The fact that the only reason I even have this belt is because Sly got his back broken at the hands of Clockwork admittedly does annoy me. So many people have said that I should have been here a long time ago. And yet, I only have not even the full picture in front of me, just the closest equivalent that I can get. I need this match in a sense to see where I truly am at. Am I really the champion that I believe I am? Or maybe am I not ready for it yet? I do know, however, King's Gift may play a factor considering who is in that match. For certain people win, that question may not be me or Slide's to answer. It may be the King's Gift winner who gets involved, who answers that question unfairly, if you want to say unfairly, but it is the rules of King's Gift You can cash in whenever you want. All I want is the chance to rectify something that I do feel like is wrong. That I'm only good enough to win the belt when someone gets hurt.
And for you then, you will be part of that King's Gift ladder match. You're gonna be in there with a couple familiar faces and some people who you'll be in there for the first time with. Um, the other names being Zaya Steel, Armageddon, Incineroar. There's a mystery man in that match, and uh, Claudio Dragonheart. Uh, all six competitors in this matchup are former world champions or current world champions. Um, so, what is your thought process going into that King's Gift? And if you do win it, would you think about cashing it in during the main event?
Well, that would be a bit too predictable, wouldn't it? If I were just to cash it in. But then that leads to question if I win. Which, that'd be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Someone like me holding the VW World Championship. My god, can you imagine the amount of little rats that'll scurry when that happens? But I'm going to be in that match with plenty of other men who are dangerous in their own rights. Zaya Steel, a small little bear cub that finally turned into a ferocious grizzly when he got smacked around by somebody like me. Cause let's be honest, Zaya, we all know who gave you that edge. And it damn sure wasn't some washed up drama queen whose greatest acclaim to fame was walking down a ring with a replica Ring of Honor world title. But everyone else, I look to go into that match and do what I do best. Pain, violence, chaos, anarchy, make it look like a 1-1 G. Allen show. Same old, same old. And if I do walk out, well, it probably will be tonight. It'll probably be some random show. Hell, it'll probably be in a parking lot somewhere. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna take, when I feel like taking that VW World title, I will take it. And there's not a single person on this planet that will stop me.
With with prestige and everything like that going on, the other two main events that will be transpiring, even though neither one of you men are necessarily involved, you both have had some involvement like outside of it. The James Needham Heretic match, and of course Team D-Wall versus Team Taggart. I guess we're going to start with that one, and we'll start with you, then. What is your thoughts on the Team D-Wall Team Taggart match? Who do you think the other man will choose, and who are you predicting will come out the victor?
Well, obviously on Team Taggart's side, it doesn't matter who he chooses because it's clearly going to be the entire bloodline against 5 people who had enough gumption to actually stand up and fight, or so they say. As for Taggart, it doesn't matter. All I have to say is this. This is going to be a night where pride, ego, vanity, greed has to be put aside for your purpose to be manifested. It would be a crying shame if someone like Taggart, with all those years packed in his brain, made an elementary size oopsie in picking wrong. And D-Wall, well, D-Wall's a stubborn young man, a very stubborn, dare I say, child. But if there's one thing D-Wall is, and that is he is the most focused under pressure. I mean, hell, he had to learn that after almost losing his company, what, almost 3 times in 1 year? The choices he'll make will be solid ones. It's up to the choices to fight to stop the nefarious blood trail.
I guess same question for you, Jamal. Thoughts on that match? Who do you think the other would choose, and who you think will come out the victor?
As far as Taggart is concerned, I already know who will be there, who will likely be there. The Samoan Kill Squad immediately pops up. After all, they've been the men who have done some of the dirtier ends of Taggart's work, including not only laying out Jason, but also may have been behind the D-Wall getting laid out. So I know they'll be there. As far as whoever else could be thrown on his side, you have your variety of guesses. And the same could be said for D-Wall's team. I don't truly know. What I do know is someone's hubris is going to come and bite them in the butt. It's just a matter of whose.
And, well, now for that, with night one's main event, the one that might literally end in a death, the James Needham Heretic match. Jamal, you've had your encounters with Needham in these past couple of months. I mean, at one point you were partial owner of WWA for a while.
Still am currently.
Oh, that's true. What's your opinion on that whole situation? Do you feel like this was a foolish challenge on Needham's behalf, or do you think he had some merits behind it? What's your thoughts on everything?
A man with nothing to lose is sometimes the man that some people have to be scared of the most. But right now, I don't know what to categorize Needham as. Maybe it's suicidal. Maybe he has truly nothing to lose. I'm not too sure what's going on through his head right now. And neither am I sure does he really understand what's going through his own head. The only thing he knows is that he has to fight the Heretic if he wants Ravi to get her shares back. The shares that I acquired because as much as I may have my issues with Needham over some of the decisions he makes, it wouldn't feel right, at least for me, to just sit there and let Taggart have all of the fun. But there was something that was a part of that contract that I didn't tell Needham, but I'll make very public now. I have a one-on-one meeting with Revy if, and only if, Needham does manage to beat the Heretic. And that one-on-one meeting will be very important for me because I get a few questions answered. And that's all I'll say about that meeting because I don't feel like opening up too much details. As far as the Heretic is concerned, some things never die. I remember when that thing was in Paisley's body, and when I had my encounter with it just before the first salvation, how dark it was. How that darkness just seemed to overcloud Jeremy's light, and yet it managed to finally have freedom when Malik need the demon out of it. Maybe Needham views this as his chance to show Malik, hey, I can do what you can do. Maybe that's what's going through his head. I know. You find that foolish. Trust me, we already gonna get to your opinion on it.
Yes, because.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ben.
I always find it quite amusing when individuals view Malik's past and the things he does as some twisted badge of showing how tough they are. No, I call it a fake, false individual trying to play Trauma Olympics with someone that was having actual psychological breakdowns. I've said it once and I've thought of it and said it, and so many others have said it. This is nothing more than James Needham trying to justify his internal hatred and grudge for one night, with plenty of other things that he would dare not say because that would require him to have the mental fortitude and, dare I say, the gumption and the balls to say he help. Stubbornness is a thing that resides in all humans, and unfortunately, while it's a gift, it's also a curse. I mean, let's be honest, the closest person that I've seen in this business so far that has pointed that out is somebody that everyone loathes so much, and she had a live microphone on adrenaline. But as for the whole proving the leak something, I think you need to prove something to yourself first before you try to prove it to someone that's not nearly on your level, because you dare not try to understand him. And well, nothing of value would be lost if both of them were to die, now would it?
What are your thoughts on that creature itself, the heretic?
He's one of Lucifer's little shackle bitches that got up into the world, found someone who was at their absolute worst, and feasted on it. You know, he did his part as you do with your demon. Though, just like many demons, they always flee when true strength approaches. I said nothing of value would be lost. Because, hey, look who he's feasting on now. Charles Schultz's small embarrassment. Or dead weight, as we would call it.
Um, with a lot of things that have been going on in VW, um, just it just seems like there's always chaos. There's always something going on. It feels like VW hasn't been. Honestly, I don't remember the last time you can say VW was in a peaceful state. If anything, I want to say maybe, you know, post, uh, you know, Revelations 5, you know, it seemed like, everything seemed peaceful and everything like that. And it seemed like there was just this domino effect of things that started happening. And now it's just like we got the blood trail. We got Carmen's situation. We got these things coming out of the woodworks. We got hatred. We got Clockwork coming back to life. We got Taggart in power and all this stuff like that. And it just seems like there is no, I guess, rest in sight. So with all of that said, we'll start with you, Vin, on it. What do you think of everything that's been going on?
Well, people that want the VW to change through burning it down, and to those that want to save it and stop all the fightings and the wars and things of that nature, unfortunately, they'll never happen because ever since the VW started, it was chaos incarnate because, let's be honest, irrational choices leads to catastrophic consequences down the line. The wrong people get put into power, the wrong people hold championships, the wrong people aren't booked properly, the wrong people are in spots that are non-deserving, the wrong people win awards, the wrong people have best match of the night, the wrong people are given opportunities while those that are literally scratching at the door can't even get one fingernail in. It's always going to be something. Now, if you want true change, well, you have that next time you start throwing Molotov cocktails at buildings, make sure you get to the foundation before you take out the top first. It's easy to say we should cut the head of the serpent, but you need to carefully research and understand who the actual serpent is before you start swinging machetes around.
Same question to you, Jamal. What are your thoughts on everything that's been going on?
Things haven't been peaceful since we had a giant turd snap a company out of existence. Things haven't been peaceful since we had a multiverse of madness. Things haven't been peaceful with the complexity of human nature. There will always be conflict. There will be bloodshed, tears flown, bodies broken. The pattern will always keep renewing itself. Even if Taggart goes, another evil may come. Or in this case, another Hydra may form. And no matter how many times you may cut off the head of said Hydra, it just seemingly comes back stronger and better than ever. My only solution is not to ignore your humanity. Embrace it for what it is.
Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is there's been a lot of key people in a lot of situations, and um, I'll just start naming names, and we'll start with Jamal, then Vin, and then Vin and Jamal when I bring up these names and everything like that, and just give your your overall opinion on that individual in the current situation. So, we'll first start off with Randall Taggart. Jamal.
Chaos incarnate.
Vin?
Opportunistic snake.
Okay. Oseko. Vin.
Old soul that still holds on to the naivety of youth.
Jamal.
A bright spot in a tiger-filled darkness.
D-Wall. Jamal.
An anomaly.
Vin.
A Rubik's Cube.
Kenshiro. Vin.
A leech on his last tooth.
Jamal.
A man somehow even more cowardly than Vincent Cipriani.
Okay. Vincent Cipriani. Jamal.
A guy who tried too hard to play hero to his detriment, then became the villain, all for it to end up crashing.
Vin.
An immature sycophant that refuses to grow up.
Carmen. Vin.
A shattered vase that still holds light. Unfortunately, no one will ever see that.
Jamal.
A woman who reminds me a lot of my father, yet somehow has more light than he ever did.
Debataki.
Shit.
You were gonna say something, Jamal? I mean, Vin.
I was gonna say yes, and it would be a shame that no one will ever see that, no matter how many people point it out to them.
Okay. Debataki. Jamal.
A devious Taipan viper.
Vin.
A breath of fresh air.
Trixie. Vin.
A wounded pit bull lashing out, crying for help.
Jamal.
A lost soul that admittedly deserved a lot better, even from me.
Damn right.
Annie Cortez. Jamal?
A light walking through the darkness.
Vin?
Proof that the world isn't as fucked up as you think it is.
Claudio Dragonheart. Vin?
A warrior living in a modern time.
Jamal?
Somehow the most gentle out of everyone in Unchained, which is weird for me to say.
Malik. Jamal?
An unchained brother, still suffering from I don't know what, but a brother in suffering.
Vin?
He is the reason that I am standing before you today. He's the reason why me and 25 and 30 other men and women are on grand stages. A monster that I wanted, that I feared, and that I was grateful to be up against. And if there was such a thing as loyalty, well, I'd take a rocket launcher for him, if that means anything.
Charles Schultz. Vin?
A street dog that's finally found the peace he so desperately wanted.
Jamal?
In a way, a Cerberus. A Cerberus possibly on the path to either full redemption or turning on a darker leaf.
James Needham. Jamal?
Everything that he claimed he wanted to be. An outlaw. Whether that's for reasons some may feel that are self-destructive or through his own actions.
Vin?
A drifter who spent most of his life staring with green-eyed envy at the people above him, wishing to be like them, not just in the ring, but out of the ring as well. The nameless blob that wants to put himself in every category so he can fill a void in his life. A frustrating enigma that refuses to evolve.
Sly Cooper. Vin? Cy Cooper. Vin?
A $4.99 steak dinner at any Appalachian restaurant.
Jamal?
A creature whose mind sometimes plays the biggest tricks in his own head. And if he's not careful, those tricks may come to haunt him. Especially with Taggart.
Raditz. Jamal?
A Saiyan seeking his own identity.
Vin?
A prideful coward that upgraded to a prideful fool.
Jeremy Paisley. Vin?
One of the lucky ones.
Jamal?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Zach Stone. Jamal?
This would be one of those times where I would let Gavin go first.
Okay, Vin? Zach Stone.
A stubborn man who refuses to listen to the people around him because he's too afraid to admit that he needs help. Too prideful to admit that he doesn't know what to do. And also too prideful not to admit that the reasons for his suffering are because of the karma choices he made.
Jamal? Zach Stone.
A man blind to his own ignorance. A man who may see his company die while he's obsessed with the VW World Championship. A man who also may see that company die while being obsessed over the All-Stars World Championship. A man who cannot see the broken glass and bones that he has indirectly caused. And a man who, quite frankly, I personally enjoy giving a black eye to.
Amber Stevens. Jamal?
A woman blinded by her domain so much so that Trixie had an easy time breaking her.
Vin?
A tainted soul that couldn't admit that it was tainted to begin with.
Michael Conley. Vin?
Code red, eh?
Yes.
Oh, where do I begin? A walking, talking relic of the 90s that talks about peace, justice, love, yet can't even seem to focus on the people in front of him. Too blinded by that good old American style way of ideologies. And supremely underestimates the people in front of them, because just like everyone with such a strong moral compass you would get ran over by the reality of life.
Jamal?
Very, very strung up on his morality, which, being as another person, I understand it, but it can come back to bite him.
Takuma. Jamal?
A tiger that may one day have to face an evil far greater than the third.
Vin?
One of the lucky ones.
Tiger the Great the Third. Vin?
A conglomeration of his grandfather, father, and all the lineage before him. Almost to the point that you almost can't figure out who is the real person underneath that mask.
Jamal?
A man who once tried to give me the name of Tiger the Great the Fourth, but I denied it.
And this will be the last one. Then we'll get to the next part. Akira Yukimura. Jamal?
I'll let the psychologist over here do that more justice than I could.
Oh, okay. Dr. Vin Taylor?
A living, breathing textbook example of what happens when a society, or even the people closest to you, neglect you in such a long time that they don't notice the signs of your mental deterioration. A woman who has made rational choices because, quite frankly, she's felt her entire life that she was withheld to not make such choices or choices of any kind. Someone who let little demons, just like the one Paisley had to deal with, take over. Almost to the point that every year it's like peeling away at an onion. You get to a layer into a layer, and you can't help but to feel remorseful for.
So you have nothing you want to add to that, Jamal?
What more is there to add? To a woman whose entire life story just can't seem to go one way without a vicious swerve to another. A woman who at one point decorated herself as an empress on the blood of the many women that she beat damn near to death. Women who have yet to have seen in-ring action since their encounters with her. Dare I say it, her and Carmen have some elements of similarity between the two. But I ain't gonna go any further than that.
So I think the best way to truly finish this off is just, well, we'll start with you, Vin, and then Jamal. Pretty much just give your full honest thoughts on Jamal, and Jamal, your full, honest thoughts on Vin. Vin would you can start if you want.
I see someone who is hungry to prove his worth, that he is the best at this right here, where everybody watches us at, called professional wrestling. And someone who refuses to stay the same, even when many others probably told you that you should stay the same. Somebody who not only dares to get in the way of everyone for the sake of not himself, but for others, which is very rare to have in this day and age, because really the only one was, well, a man you would call your brother. And he got burned for that time and time again. And someone who should be very careful at how he takes this next step, because one might get the impression that you're just obsessed with me, obsessed with the idea of what Vin Taylor can do for you, because you've seen Cody, you've seen Mark Butcher, you've seen Xander, you've seen Zahea. You've seen the people I have faced and how they have changed. And deep down, in some way, you want me to hurt you so you can learn something, and so you can evolve yourself, so you can be that good soldier that fights in the front line when all the nukes are aimed at him. That's what I think of you.
Jamal, your full, honest thoughts on Vin Taylor.
I look at that arm of yours that busted me open. I look at everything you've ever done in your life. All the people you have changed. And yet somehow I remain undaunted. See, my goal for fighting you is not to scare you, intimidate you, make you change, or to bring out an even darker side of myself. When salvation comes, I want to remind you of your humanity. And I know that's weird coming from me, because for all the things I've done, some of which have been absolutely wrong, but I take back none of those decisions. I only apologize when I know I'm fully mistaken. In some way, shape, or form, you're the perfect person to fight, because in one way, I view you as me fighting my own sins as a man. On the other hand, I view this as an opportunity to bring the human side of Vin Taylor out. And at salvation, I will do everything I physically can to do so. There is one place that I have never touched for all the years I've been here. Not even when I fought Malika Gateway to Heaven did I ever go to a place that's as dark as the one that you're going to see at Salvation. And quite frankly, it's a place I've been scared of going to. But right now, I'm not afraid of going there. In fact, you're the perfect opponent for me to go there. Because when I do, there's no telling what I'm physically capable of. Through all my fights with the likes of Cumber, Yellow Devil, the King of Immortals, Malik, Steel, even the entities that ran the big mega conglomerates like a Taggart or like a Sean Walsh, I run into everything head first. Is that always a good decision? No. But it's how I lived my entire life. And come Salvation, I will run into Vin Taylor with unchained brutality. Maybe you will punish me for everything I've done. Maybe you will bring me to an even darker place. Or maybe, just maybe, I could bring some humanity out of you.
Well, I think that right there is a good way to wrap all this up. I want to thank you both for coming here this evening and doing this uh, double interview. Remember, everyone, Salvation is just around the corner, and so is Prestige 5. And we will see you all at those events. Take care.